Beers, barbecue, and bears. Oh my. Today we're going behind the bar at Beale's Brewery. Let's break it down.
So think like an amber lager, but not quite. It's got some rye in it.
All right, and we are here at Beale's today, joined by lead beertender Ryan Steffen. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Great. So I see here we have a bunch of taps with some very fun buzzwords. I see rainbow, razzle, brunch, some words I'm very excited about. Plus, there's a great board here. So tell me a little bit about the beers that you all have here at Beale's today.
All right, so Beale's is going to run anywhere from 8 to maybe 14 taps at a time.
Okay, so wide
different
selection.
Types of beer, lots of selection.
Okay.
I would say our brewers are very talented with fruit. So about half of our profile is going to be fruited style beers. That doesn't necessarily mean sweet, just that they have fruit notes to them. Although I would say that's only about half of the beers.
Right, and so are we talking like sours? Because I know that's very common with fruit, or are there other styles of fruit beer that people may not know about?
So a little bit of everything. So I would say one is that we do have a fruited IPA. In the IPA world, there are some that are and some that are not, so we have one that is. We do have fruited tea beers. I know that not a lot of breweries do fruited
tea beers. So what exactly is that? Because for personally, like that's a combo of words that I haven't really heard as much in the beer scene. So fruited tea beer. What exactly is a fruited tea beer?
So it's going to be brewed like a beer, except that inside that beer it may have up to 20 or 30,000 tea bags.
That's a lot of tea bags.
As well
20
as
or 30,000 tea bags.
As well as fresh or dehydrated fruit.
Okay. Which one of these is a fruited tea beer?
So on our taps right now, the first one I would say is peach tea blonde. I'm going to pour you a little bit of the peach tea blonde right now.
Okay.
It is one of the flagships. In other words, it is available for distribution. It is also available in-house.
Gotcha. Now these are really slick mugs. I've been talking to people, and sometimes certain beer glasses affect the beer. Is this a specific design here for this beer, or is this just like a standard glass that you all use?
I think the glass is just meant to look like a can.
Okay.
So looking like a can of
now
16 ounces, just like you'd have a can itself. So this is going to be the peach tea blonde.
Gotcha.
So
peach tea blonde.
It's sweet. But what I tell people is it's a little bit like a dry Chardonnay. So when you taste it, it's actually going to be a lot drier than what it smells like it's going to be.
It almost reminds me of like a peach candy, or like almost like a peach hard candy on the nose. Okay, so. Oh, it is dry.
Right.
But it's like a smooth dryness. Sometimes a dry wine or a super dry beer, kind of like makes your throat actually like raspy. This is like, I feel like this could be like a daily drinker. You know how you have like a daily driver as your car?
Right.
Like I feel like I could knock back quite a few of these, and then time would just pass.
Right.
So it's nice and refreshing as well.
When we have people that come in who say they're not beer drinkers or they don't like craft beer, that's actually one of the first ones I get them to try, because it is not super challenging. It's not super crazy. It is an easy drinker. Not only is it one of my favorite beers, but it's also one of my mom's favorite beers.
Well, there you go. One of Ryan's mom's favorite beers. Alrighty. Well, I have a drink at hand, but what would you pour for yourself? I know you said this one's one of your favorites, but which other of the fruity beers are tickle your fancy?
All right, so if you were going to pick the next fruited beer that you like, it's actually going to be my favorite hazy IPA. That's going to be the Rainbow Connection.
Taste the rainbow. Am I allowed to say that? Am I going to get sued? Okay.
So Rainbow Connection was actually named after a restaurant in Bedford called the Rainbow Restaurant. They were doing a series of different beers named after different localities around here.
Gotcha.
So that's where Rainbow Connection came from. It's very heavily fruited. You're going to get either like notes of pineapple or guava on top of it. Yeah. And then what I would tell a customer is that the hops are going to be subtle and underneath the fruit at the beginning.
Okay.
And so it's not a real in-your-face IPA. It's actually a really subtle one. I would call it kind of like a starter IPA.
A starter IPA. Would you say, for someone who's not overly familiar with beer, so this is the one you'd recommend this?
Yes.
Would you recommend this to somebody else who's kind of new to drinking beer, or was this for more I don't want to say experienced beer drinkers, but
I would say IPA drinkers know if they like IPAs.
Okay.
But I would give it to somebody who wants to try something different or says that they don't like IPAs and they'd like to try one.
Yeah.
Because I would say that this is a really mild, easy drinking IPA.
All right. Well, go ahead, give it a taste. No, I want to hear the notes from the head beer tender himself. So, please tell me. I will take like a waft on the nose there, but what are you getting here? Like, break it down.
The first thing that I get is I get kind of a big burst of pineapple at the beginning.
Okay.
Everybody's palates are different, so the fruit you taste is going to be different, but I would get pineapple at the very beginning. And then at the end of that taste is where I get just a little bit of the hops. It's not really overwhelming. It's not super, super bitter.
Right.
A lot of people think IPAs have to be really hoppy or really bitter. And then the aftertaste to me is just that combination of almost like a guava, and then the hop just kind of sits there as the aftertaste.
And so when we're talking about the beer, hops, I think people understand that hops go in beer, but I think a lot of people don't know. In fact, myself, I sometimes I struggle with this. When you're talking like fruited, tea beers or other fruited sours, is there actually real fruit going into the brewing process there? Like, are the brewers actually, okay, so we're putting...
So it'll be either fresh fruit or it would be dehydrated.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to do dehydrated just purely for the amount.
But in the fermentation process?
Yes.
Oh.
All that's going to go in
there. You go. If you see peach, strawberry, at least at Beale's, that's real fruit going in there and it's really coming through. So that's amazing.
Okay.
So I obviously, we've got one beer in hand here, but I also heard you all do some really awesome flights.
We do.
If I'm a new guest coming into Beale's for the first time and I ask, what is a flight? What is a flight?
So a flight's going to be a 4-ounce taste of several different types of beers.
Okay.
On our menu, you can actually pick a 4-drink flight or a 6-drink flight.
Excellent.
And we can certainly let you just pick them out, or your servers or the bartender can help you figure out what you might like based off of what you drink, the type of beers you might like, or sometimes I might push people to try something that they may not know that they're going to like, but seems like something similar to what they're drinking.
So sometimes you allow people to just put their trust into you.
Sometimes they just say, pick them for me.
Well, that's what I'm going to do.
Right, which is where I will ask them some questions. Do you like fruit? Do you like hoppiness? What kind of beer do you like?
I love beer.
I love beer. Those are my favorite flights because then I just pick my favorite ones.
Great. Well, then we're going to get along. So here, cheers to this. And I'm looking forward to tasting a flight here. So let's go ahead and pour that up. And then we'll go ahead and transition to the vibe check. All right, and now we are here for the vibe check at Beale's. Ryan is here. We have been joined by General Manager Haley, and then there's Chad. Chad is also here, but we love Chad. Alrighty, so Ryan was nice enough to pour us this flight, dealer's choice flight. I have no idea what's in front of me, just like I know very little about beer as a whole, but that's why I have assembled this collective of experts. So thank you all for joining us on the vibe check. First things first, what do I have in front of me here, beer-wise?
So I pulled 6 beers of different kinds. So this would be something, if somebody came up and asked me to pour them a flight of a dealer's choice, this would be something close to what I would give them. A little bit of things that are just in-house, a couple of our award winners, things that maybe they can get it through distribution, and just a wide range of different flavors that we have. So this is kind of what I would pick for them.
And this feels like the Beale's experience, right? I'm here to absorb the vibe now, and you gave me a mix. So what's this one right here? Let's just get to it, because we haven't tasted enough beer yet. We've only tasted a couple. I'm ready to taste some more. So this one right here is
That's the gold.
The gold.
That's our flagship. I'll let Chad talk a little bit about that.
Alrighty, Chad, take it away. So we have the gold here.
Do I get to drink it, pass it along? I love it.
Alrighty. Well, first things first, we're gonna be doing a lot of cheersing here. So this is the gold. So this is the flagship.
Yes. So this was the original one. This is the one most people know our beer. If they know Beale's, they know Beale's Gold.
Yes.
I love this.
So tell me a little bit about the flagship, as far as like how is it made, what style is it?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I think is amazing about Beale's is the fact that the mass majority of our beers, what we do is very drinkable, just very approachable products.
Okay.
Something that that most drinkers can enjoy at any given time. It's not overpowering in any specific way.
Well, this one feels familiar, like in a good way, like taste, like one, I enjoy it. Two, but it's not one of those beers that I feel like is very polarizing or super unique. Like I feel like anybody who says they're a beer drinker would probably enjoy this. So I feel like excellent choice for a flagship, right?
Straightforward.
Okay.
Grills. It is a classic Helles lager. It's a German lager, just very easy drinking, crisp. Something that really, you could have on a hot day, you could have on a cold night. It doesn't hardly matter. It is just a very easy drinking beer. And one of the things, the reason that I love this one specifically is that it kind of showcases what the brewery is about and how we began, even just by the name on it. Being Beale's Gold, the story behind Beale's is essentially that in Bedford there's this whole local legend, an explorer back in the day.
Right.
Back in the day, it was like late 1700s, who went on an hunting expedition, ended up stumbling across a mine of gold, silver, treasure.
Yeah.
Right? They brought all that back, excavated it, brought it back to their hometown, the hills around Bedford, and buried it somewhere. And no one has ever found it to this day. We can delve into this entire history if we really want to, but it became this whole local legend for the town of Bedford.
Right.
And when we opened up our brewery, we started Beale's. We wanted something that really called out this local community and really showcased the fact that we are this product that calls out something that's fun and has an experience behind it, and a way that you can search for something. You're looking for what you like and that sort of thing.
There's like a whole adventure in the name.
Right? Adventure. Right.
Like we should, a part of me feels like we should drink all this beer and then go start searching for treasure. Exactly.
Hence the mud that you can see behind us.
The treasure, I'm jumping ahead. The treasure is the friends we made along the way.
You are spot on.
There you go.
Exactly.
So that covers the gold. Haley, of the remaining 5, which one's your favorite?
Oh, my favorite.
Of the remaining 5, that's right. Putting you on the spot.
I would probably say the Plumpercott. Out of those 5, the Plumpercott is my favorite.
Point it out to me.
Guess which one.
Oh.
Guess which one the Plumpercott was.
Now I feel like it's almost a trick question.
No, you're on the spot.
I'm tempted to say this one.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Plumpercott.
That's a good one.
Now, is this another one of those fruited tea ones, or okay?
This is one of the sours that we have on right now.
Ooh, I do like sours.
Plum and apricot. It's the name.
Plumpercott makes sense. Checks out.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm sorry. Whoa, caught on camera. I'm a bad guy. The cheers. Oh, that's fun. That's so fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is. Well, I get more apricot than I do plum, but you definitely get sour.
And it's a 2-drinker. Take a second sip because the flavor does shift a little bit.
Ooh.
Like most Berliner and sours, like your taste buds have to figure out what's happening with it first.
Oh.
So the flavor really settles in its second sip.
Yeah, I feel like there's more depth on the second sip. It's just like you really start to get both flavors,
Right.
Apricot, the plum, award-winning sour there. Ryan, I'm gonna let you walk me through this one because this dark beer here, I'll admit, I'm a bit nervous with dark beers.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people are, because it's at first it always seems like it's not particularly approachable.
Sure.
It seems very intimidating here. So what's this really dark
This one is the Honey Nut Porter. This is one that's only available in-house. It's a small batch brew. It is a porter, but it's a low alcohol porter. So a lot of times they're super syrupy, super sweet. They can find 10, 12%. This one's closer to like a 5.5%.
Now a porter, I don't know what a porter is, but I feel like a porter is one of the more common terms, phrases, styles, if you will, that people hear a lot. But I think if I had to guess, it's one people know the least about. So what exactly makes a porter a porter?
The difference between something like a porter or a stout is essentially just, it's a slightly different style, but the way I like to look at it is like a stout is like a porter on steroids. You're essentially, if you take a porter, you're going to get some of these roasty, dark kind of milk chocolates and funky sort of flavors, versus a stout is going to be a little bit more of, let's say, a dark chocolate and espresso sort of a flavor, right? They're very similar in styles. They're using very similar ingredients. Really, the color and whatnot that you're getting from this is essentially from the fact that we've roasted, the malt much longer. Any barley that you're using to make the beer is going to be malted.
Check it out.
Cheers.
So you're gonna get, it's very smooth. It's gonna be sweet. You might get a little hint of a coffee taste in it, but it's just gonna be a little touch.
That's a very smooth porter. A lot of porters can be kind of.
Oh, this is nothing to be afraid of at all.
Right,
This
right.
is excellent.
It is not overly sweet. You know, it's been a fan favorite since we've released it. I have a lot of people who really like it.
Definitely get the honey front of that one, and then the nuts were a blend of macadamia, hazelnut, and one more that I'm forgetting.
Is there any vanilla in this? I'm getting like just a tinge of vanilla. I don't know if I'm making
I don't know
it
that
up,
there's
but
vanilla, but lots of people's palates process things differently. So you may get vanilla, whereas I might get more coffee, and that's just sometimes the difference of our palates and how we taste them.
I guess that too.
We're into the middle of the flight now. Dealer's choice. Which one should I pick up next? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I'm going to say Mo.
Catch a tiger by this one. Okay, great. So, what is this one?
That's your peach tea blonde.
Ryan's mother.
My mom's favorite beer.
Okay, it's back. Well,
It is back.
Ryan's mother's favorite beer back in the flight. If you can't get a flight, just ask for Ryan's mother's favorite beer.
Yeah.
And we'll all know what you got.
We know which one it is, all right? And this one's for you, Mama.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. To Mom.
I cheered to the mom, not to you.
That's right, yeah. That's good.
My favorite.
That's good stuff.
For what it's worth.
It's also Chad's favorite beer.
Chad too.
It's Ryan's mom's favorite beer and also Chad's favorite beer. Just make sure I mix it in there. It's making me sad that we're starting to get down to the flight. But, well, I have some work to do after this. What's this kind of medium dark one here?
So it's gonna, you wanna do it? Go for it. No, that's your dad's favorite.
Well, I was going to add that after you talked.
So,
Oh, okay, wow.
all right, so this one is the Rye Bock. So German style beer. It's gonna be medium body. It is, think like an amber lager, but not quite. It's got some rye in it, so for some people that means like a spiciness in the tongue, spiciness in the back of the mouth. It's pretty dry. To me, it's an easy drinker. If people if they don't know what a Bock is, a lot of them know what an Oktoberfest is.
Yeah.
So I say, like, think of an Oktoberfest with like a little bit of oomph at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's got just like a little bit of a punch at the end of the aftertaste of it.
Okay. This really is a diverse lineup from what I can tell. Again, I'm no beer tasting expert, but we have some lighter stuff, we have some fruitier options, and we have a sour, we have a porter, and we have a rye bock, which, I might have messed up the pronunciation there, but I haven't had very many of these, and it has its own unique characteristics that stand apart from everything, which is great. I mean, flights they're like small plates at a restaurant. You just can keep trying and tasting,
right.
And it's fun. And speaking of fun, like Beale's, from what you all have told me, is a fun place. So, before we even taste the last one on the flight, we'll get into the meat of the potatoes of the vibe check. So what about Beale's, besides just like the great drinks and the fantastic selection of drinks, what makes Beale's special?
Yeah.
And this one goes to Haley first.
Great. I'd say it's a variety of different things. It's kind of hard to pinpoint just one thing specifically, but we got a lot of really cool stuff going on, a lot of big events that we're going to do. As far as like our flagship events, we always do a big thing for Oktoberfest. Apple Ale release is always a really big one, which we didn't get to include in the slide here.
We'll give you that one
Next
afterwards.
time. Yeah.
Community involvement, always looking for ways that we can help out people within the Bedford community. So we did this past year, we had a beer release that was forever, where we teamed up with friends of the Bedford Animal Shelter, and that was a ton of fun. We did like an adoption.
Oh, gotcha.
Like dogs on bread.
It's our employees' pictures.
Forever.
Yeah, I think Haley hits the nail on the head with it specifically in that one of the things I pride myself. I pride the company on, and I'm happy to be included and involved in a group like this, in a company like this, when we do spend a lot of time developing and just working with different local communities, small local communities, wherever we're based out of. We have some other kind of sister locations and things that we in kind of off the beaten path spots,
Right.
just like Bedford. We chose this to build the brewery because it isn't a big city. It's just on the outskirts of a big city, right? And it becomes this sort of family atmosphere on top of the whole fun and adventure and everything that we talked about earlier on.
I mean, it sounds to me like it's a really healthy mix of community involvement and engagement, as well as like some lighthearted fun, like, from a guest perspective, you can come to Beale's, you can hang out, you can come to drag brunch, you can come, have a flight, drink a bunch of beer, but also you can know that it's, not only supporting, a local born and bred business, but also a business that is, looking to be a little bit more than, a small batch brewery.
There are even weekly events that we have that I feel like the community has really dove into. We have a music bingo on Wednesday nights, and this place is packed on a Wednesday night. And we're seeing lots of people come back regularly for those events. And as somebody who's in this at the bar all the time, we have a really healthy balance of locals and people from the area who come in pretty regularly, and people who are visiting. Sometimes they've just seen the sign across the road. Sometimes they've seen the beer and know that we're in Bedford, and they decide to make a trip from Roanoke or Lynchburg because it's not really that far to get here. Right. And they're sometimes really floored by how cool the building is, by how many people there are here, and all the different things we seem to always have going on.
Oh, well, let me touch on that. So, talking atmosphere of the actual space here in the tasting room, let's say it's a busy weekend night, first time guest is coming by. What kind of vibe can they actually expect to experience? Like, what do you imagine when you're, behind the bar, wheeling, dealing, the lead bar beertender that you are? What kind of vibe can people expect when they come to visit Beale?
I mean, more than likely, there's going to be somebody sitting at that bar who is a town regular, who will probably strike up a conversation with you, introduce you to Bedford, talk to you about this place, talk to you about this beer. I can think of probably 5 to 10 people off the top of my head who I've watched do it, who will sit there and just start talking to you about your beer and how did you find us and why did you come here. So I feel like they also help us welcome our customers here as well. It's definitely a lively atmosphere. There's not TVs here because we want people to talk. We don't want them to be zoned out onto a football game. And I think that really comes through most of the time.
And I think our slogan kind of ties into that. Simple thrills for curious folks. I just love that.
That's simple thrills for curious folks.
Yeah.
I just think that kind of hits the nail on the head too. Like, yes, this is a lively place, as he mentioned, but we also take pride in the fact that it is simple and it is, anybody can come in and really enjoy themselves.
Believe it or not, I'm curious folks who also enjoy simple thrills.
And here you are.
And you're here.
I'm having a grand time.
Right.
This is a blast. So, vibe check's winding down, but one thing I want to know is if you can choose, and I'm going to come to each of you, if you can choose one word to describe the vibe at Beale's to somebody who has never been here before, what would that word be? And we're going to Chad first. One word, Chad. Comfortable. Off the top, no hesitation.
None.
Comfortable. Wow, that's a word that I like because, well, I'll speak from my heart here. You all have made me feel extremely welcome, very relaxed, not nervous at all to be on camera here, and really just, very welcomed. I've kind of melted into this seat here, Maybe it's because I'm halfway through a flight right now, but I'm feeling comfortable. And I think that speaks to like people can come in dressed however they want to, there's no dress code here. You're seeing people of all shapes, sizes, and otherwise. So comfortable is a good word. Thank you. Ryan, what do you got?
I'd say family.
Wow.
Like family as employees, we're family. I feel like when people walk through the door, if I recognize your face, I treat you like family. I feel like they treat me like family. So that would be, and we're family friendly.
Make sure I choose the right one. Ryan's mom's favorite beer. Family. All right, Haley.
Do I have to pick one? Can I pick two?
Nope, it's got to be one. I'm a stickler.
I'm gonna say adaptive.
Oh.
I feel like this company, you know, a lot of people don't know about Beale's, but you know, when we look at the whole team high up, there's a lot of women within this company. And to me, coming into it as the general manager, like that was a big draw. And it was something that I knew coming into it, that I had 5 women above me that were going to be my mentors in my career. And it's not just a brewery or a restaurant, but it's also like within the company, there's so much room to grow.
Yeah.
But I would say Beale specifically more on that topic. I just feel like we're constantly looking for ways to change and look for ways to involve Beale's within the community and things that we can do to help. And we're willing to adapt in any way we can to make that happen. So that's my word, adaptive.
Adaptive. Gotta adapt and grow. Well, somebody tell me about the last beer that we have here as we wind down the vibe check and, you know.
So this is the Rainbow Connection. So you
Okay.
tasted this one already.
Perfect,
And
okay.
we talked about this one a little bit, but when I first started tasting beer, I wasn't huge on IPAs. And I will say Rainbow Connection is the IPA that like got me into trying all IPAs. So when he said starter IPA, I was like,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, well,
So
before we cheers though, back to the one words. I gotta admit, I'm a little sad that none of you all said barbecue, because I feel like I've heard through the grapevine that that is one thing Beale's is also very well known for. I know that this is a beverage show, but you know, I was hoping that somebody was just like barbecue and then like a sandwich would appear. That would be the dream.
I mean, you snap your fingers and it could happen.
Oh man, if only I had that power. Oh my goodness. It's Beale's magic. Wow, incredible.
That looks great, actually.
So this is, I mean, somebody needs to break this down for me here. So, okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's all you.
I can start here, white bread. So I know that.
So we can start up here. This is Matt's famous brisket.
Okay.
We slice up a few pieces for you there.
Now, real quick, who's Matt again?
So Matt's our pit master.
Okay.
He's in a ton of articles all over the internet. He's basically barbecue famous, so.
Oh, tight.
Matt Hogan.
Well, you know,
He's
as a
legendary.
fellow chef with no barbecue expertise, I will be sure to look up Matt.
Matt Hogan.
Follow
Yeah,
Matt
he's
everywhere.
great. So we have brisket up here, and then down here we've got our pork ribs. pork
Okay.
spare ribs. Over on the left side at the bottom there is going to be our smoked chicken breasts. And up top in the left corner, that is our pulled pork.
Incredible.
Sides, we've got mac and cheese on the left side. We've got potato salad here.
Yeah.
Fire and ice pickles are down at the bottom there. That's something that we make here. They're really, really good. A little bit sweet, a little bit of spicy. And then we've got all 4 of our sauces on the plate there. So our brown sauce, that's going to be probably the sweeter of all of the sauces. It is a vinegar molasses base, really good. The green one is kind of like a verde sauce. That's probably my favorite. Very different. You don't see a lot of barbecue restaurants offer something like that. So I really,
and I'm a big
really
fan
like
of
that we
salsa
have that
verde,
there.
so it's like really
Really good.
fun and unique. And
All the way on the top is the red sauce. That is also going to be a vinegar base there. And then on the right is the orange sauce.
Gotcha. And I don't want to let anything cool off here, but do you know what style of barbecue this is?
So Matt's roots are Kansas City. So he
Kansas
brings
City.
that a lot into his barbecue.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I got the Rainbow Connection here, and I feel like now is the time for everybody to pick up a glass. Come on, Chad.
Pick up a different glass.
Chad. Alrighty.
That's what I do.
Wow. To comfortable,
Yes.
to adaptive, and hold on, it's gonna come back to me and to family. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, Chad, I know we keep you around for a reason. Well, thank you all so much for allowing me to come into your space, taste some beer, get ready to dig into some wonderful barbecue. So cheers.
Cheers.
This was Beverage Breakdown, and don't forget to try Ryan's mom's favorite beer. Yes. All righty. Excellent.
She's gonna be so mad.